Welcome to the Wonder With Me podcast, where I, Dr. Tonia Winchester, invite you to get curious with me about all things mind-body healing, especially how we can unlock the incredible healing power of our unconscious minds, so that we can all get out of stress mode and go back into healing mode. We'll talk about how you can easily create healthy, sustainable self-care habits so that you can calm your mind, sleep deeply, wake rested, and enjoy happy, energized days. Ultimately, so that you can make a bigger difference in your well-being and that of your family and the world around you. These casual chats are for educational purposes only and don't constitute a therapeutic relationship. With all that said, let's get this episode underway. Come wonder with me. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Wonder With Me podcast. I am your hostess, doctor, and/or coach, Tonia Winchester, and this is season 1, episode 11. 3 ways to embody leadership in your life. Now, if you haven't caught on, these earlier episodes between 0 and about 20 are backdated, in that I recorded them probably last year and have been systematically uploading them to my podcast platform. Why? Because they're helpful and they already exist, so I want to share them. I listen to each one and I do my best to edit what I can to make them sound as good as possible and take notes about what I want to share in these preambles and also in the show notes. This is an episode that I absolutely love. It was originally done as a presentation in a group that I made online, took the audio out of the video and plunked it in here. There are some pregnant pauses in this episode. Some I shortened and some I left. I think there's some space required emotionally around the topic of some of the stories I tell in this episode. So if there's a second or even a 2-second pause, I'm still with you. Stay with me. Words will resume flowing into your ears very shortly. So I've been wondering, and I'm wondering if you've been wondering, what it takes to make a good leader. And this can apply to leaders of organizations, leaders of families, and just being the leader in your own life. And that's really the slant and the vantage point from which I present this information to you today. How can we become the leaders in our own lives? So I will, through some beautiful stories, share what I think are the 3 most important things that we need to do to embody leadership in our own lives and in our own health and wellness. You're going to be able to ask yourself and figure out what it is you're committed to. You're going to be able to learn how to discover what your values are, your unconscious driving values. All of that's going to take place in this episode. I think I have amply preambled. Let's get into it. Let's get wondering. 3 ways to embody leadership. We all need leadership in our lives at different times in different ways. We all find ourselves on either side of the leadership equation. Sometimes we lead, whether that's a team, a family, or a partnership. And sometimes we follow, whether that's a cultural norm, a politician, a doctor, or a coach. Now, you may be wondering, like I've been wondering, what makes a good leader? It's good to wonder because that means your unconscious mind is here and you're learning. I've been wondering, what makes good leaders lead easily? What if there was a formula to make leadership simple? Not without challenges, of course, but what if there was a map or a guide to follow so that when hard things do happen, that we have something to refer to, a compass to get us back on track. As a starting place, let's consider what it takes to be leaders in our own lives. You and I both know that the best leaders embody certain characteristics and qualities. These are things that we can learn and practice and habituate into excellence. As a naturopathic doctor and neurolinguistics programming master coach, I lead people to overcome challenges all the time by changing how their minds are wired so that they can focus on what's important to them, ultimately leading them to the health and the life that they desire. I'm committed to giving people the transformation and the tools that they need so that they can lead themselves to physical and emotional well-being. Then they can overcome any challenge with ease. So I'm asking for your commitment. Listen to this post with your conscious mind and know that your unconscious mind is here too, wondering and learning. On the topic of the unconscious mind, you know those moments in life that just disarm you, that shatter what you believe to be true, that change how you see the world? I had one of those moments last summer while reading a light-hearted book about consciously creating more luck called Conscious Luck by Gay Hendricks. I was gutted by this paragraph. If you're lonely, it's because on an unconscious level, you're more committed to being lonely than you are to being connected. If you're overweight, it's because on an unconscious level, you're more committed to being overweight than you are to being at a healthy weight. Your unconscious commitment to being overweight literally outweighs your conscious commitment to being at your ideal weight. And if you're unlucky, it's because on some level, again, usually unconscious, you're committed to being unlucky. Woof. This got me in my core because I know this. I teach my brain-based coaching clients about commitment and how important it is to be 100% committed to the healing process, including the assignments that I give them. I tell them that metaphorically, if a pilot is leaving Vancouver and is only 99% committed to landing on the runway in Hawaii, that she'll land 75 kilometers away from it. If we're only 99% committed to the path of success, we are 1% committed to failing, which is essentially being 100% committed to failing because 99% just won't cut it, as we saw in that pilot example. Speaking of failing things, decades ago in my second year of naturopathic college, my near flawless academic record became tarnished. And for the first time in my life, I failed something. To be more accurate, I failed 3 somethings, 3 midterms. Yikes. My first year of naturopathic college was mostly a review of my undergraduate degree in kinesiology. I already knew a lot, so I shifted my study habits, studied less, and still did great academically. In that first semester of my second year, I remained committed to my minimal studying approach, and this just didn't cut it for me to be able to learn new material. So there I was, having failed 3 midterms, terrified to tell my parents that I wasn't reaching the bar. In a Google chat with my dad circa 2004, I typed the bad news and winced, waiting for his reply with my hands in front of my face and fingers spread as if I was watching the scary part of a horror movie. Not wanting to look, but needing to see. And you'll never guess what he said to me. It shocked and surprised me, and it was one of those moments that changed my life. He said 10 words. Are you getting enough exercise? It's all about balance, sweetie. My dad recently passed away. In late June, he was admitted to the intensive care unit after choking and his heart stopping. He had a neurological manifestation that changed how his brain coordinated important muscle movements like swallowing. When my mom and I got to the hospital the next morning, we rang the doorbell at ICU. We told the nurse through the intercom that we were there to visit the patient in room 357. Sure, she said. Just one person allowed at the bedside at a time. So my mom went in and I waited. There I am, alone in the hallway, sitting on a cold and hard light blue chair. Last thing I wanted in that moment was to be alone, and thankfully about 5 minutes later the nurse came to tell me that I was welcome to join my mom in my dad's room at his bedside. Them making an exception was a little clue that we didn't have much time. The next day, Mom and I returned with 2 more people. My sister and my husband had arrived. Ding dong. We're here to see the patient in room 357. A new nursing staff member spoke through the intercom and she told us there's just one person allowed at the bedside at a time. I think we have an exception, I replied. Oh, let me check. Yeah, I'm sure. You guys can all come in. And the next day we came back with 3 more people. Now we were 7. My uncle and 2 family friends of 50 years had arrived. Ding dong. We're here to see the patient in room 357. Another new nurse spoke through the intercom and told us just one person in allowed at the bedside at a time. I think we have an exception, I replied. Oh, let me check. Yeah, sure, you guys can all come in. To embody leadership in our lives, you and I both need to be committed to 3 things that serve as guides, that hold the compass for us to know what way is our true north. We need to be committed to our values, what's important to us deep down inside. Values drive our actions. We need to be committed to our behaviors. We enact our values through our behaviors. And we need to be committed to our boundaries. We create consistency and habits around our behaviors with our boundaries. A client asked me, but how do I know what I'm committed to? And I coached her by saying, you take inventory of your life. Whatever is going on shows you where you're leading yourself, mostly unconsciously. What are you experiencing? What are your relationships like? How are you communicating, responding, reacting? The results of your commitments are all around you. It's all feedback. If you don't like what you see, then you have to commit to getting back into the driver's seat of your life so that you can lead it the way you want it. Another client asked me, how do I know what my values are? Our values are expressions as behaviors. I believe that every behavior is leading us to a positive outcome as it attempts to get certain needs met based on our values. Here's how you can find your values. Pay attention to your actions and behaviors. Write down everything you do in a day for 5 to 7 days in a row. At the end of each night, for each behavior, ask yourself, what is important to me about that? Ask that question again and again, over and over for each action you performed. You'll discover 3 to 5 core values that are driving your behaviors. When I read that paragraph about being unconsciously committed to being overweight, I realized there were several behaviors I was committed to that were not helping me reach my health goal of releasing weight. I was committing to choosing foods that caused inflammation in my body. I was committed to overeating, to emotional eating. What's important to me about that? Comfort. What's important to me about that? Attention. What's important to me about that? Love. And so on. That night we barbecued hamburgers for supper, and my husband pulled his freshly baked buns out of the oven and asked if I wanted one. No, thank you, I politely said. I'm just going to put the patty on a salad. I've been trying to stop eating wheat for 5 to 6 years. Today's the day I stopped trying and I actually do it. I committed to changing my behavior to honor my value of health. I chose to be my own leader and set a boundary around my new behavior so it could help me reach my goals. Your values are yours to respect and honor. No one is going to make sure that you stay in integrity with them. That's on you. You have to put a boundary around who, values, and how, behaviors you want to be. You have to commit to that ideal every day, over and over, like someone in recovery. As a leader in your own life, it's also important to know when to make an exception to your values, to your behaviors and your boundaries. The nursing staff at the hospital made an exception for us to be all in the room with my dad. They were able, as leaders of his care, to evaluate the situation and decide what was more important. The ICU rule, or respecting his wishes to be surrounded by loved ones with jazz music playing and us sharing our love and cherished memories of him. My family is so glad that they adjusted their values and made an exception for us so we could all be there when he passed, peacefully, exactly as he wished. When my dad asked me about exercise and suggested balance as a way through my failing streak, I was dumbfounded. Thank you for not being upset. He typed LOL, upset. We love you no matter what marks you're bringing home. We didn't set the bar you're trying to reach. You did. We love what you're doing and we have faith in you. Woof. In such a good way, it got me in my gut. My dad was a true leader in both his personal and professional lives. He studied leadership, spoke at conferences, and consulted about it. He always taught about leading from one's values. He enacted his values so consistently. My dad was committed to his values of kindness, love of service, compassion, and communication. When he asked me how I was taking care of myself, he showed me his integrity. He stayed in complete alignment with what was important to him. His response assured me that he loved me and cared about me, and not my test results, unconditionally. He modeled leadership so beautifully, a great example of keeping internal commitments and staying congruent to what was at the core of who he wanted to be. He taught me about being the leader in my own well-being, which I've gone on to teach many others. My new commitment to skip wheat has allowed my body to release weight happily. I make the odd exception and usually subscribe to only eating wheat on the weekends. True leaders are committed to 3 things: their values, their behaviors, and their boundaries. They know when it's best to compromise in certain situations. To become a leader of your own life, I encourage you to keep checking in with yourself. What are your values? How are you behaving? What boundaries are you setting? What results are you seeing? What are you committed to? What's important to you? The more clarity you have, the easier you'll be able to be the leader of your own life and extend that out to leading those you're hoping to serve. You'll have your own personal guidebook to refer to. You'll have a compass to lead you back to your true north if things get hard. And that's exactly what I help my clients with. I help them to clear their past so that they can focus on the present and know exactly where they're going and be connected to their values, act and behave in a way that's aligned to those values, and set boundaries around their time and their energy and their emotional needs so they can ultimately reach their goals. And if that's something you're wanting help with, I'm happy to hop on a discovery call and find out if what you're wanting and where you're wanting to go is a match for how I love to help. So reach out and let's connect. Thank you so much for listening, and may you choose to make all your dreams come true. Hey, thanks for wondering with me today. If you've got something good out of this, then please forward this episode along to the people who you know could benefit. Be sure to subscribe, and if you're really keen, you leaving us a rating and review helps us to help more people, so thank you in advance for that. If you're wanting more insights about how you can leverage the power of your unconscious mind to go back into healing mode, head on over to ToniaWinchester.com, where you'll find my book, Breakthrough the Insomnia Cycle, and other helpful ideas. Thanks again, and we'll connect on the next episode of the Wonder With Me podcast. In the meantime, may you choose to make all of your dreams come true.